Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, I want to start today by asking you to imagine a digital graveyard.
Okay.
You're walking past the tombstones of, business models that used to work back in the day, but they're supposedly dead and buried now.
Right.
You see a tombstone for, like, the general forum. You see one for the web directory. And then right in the middle, probably the biggest one there, it just says the job board.
R.I.P. It had a good run.
Exactly. I mean, if I told you right now, in 2026, hey, I have a groundbreaking idea, I'm going to start a job board, you would just look at me like I'd completely lost my mind.
It's a visceral gut reaction.
Right.
And I mean, it makes sense, right? You look at the stats.
Yeah.
Indeed has something like 250 million unique visitors every single month. LinkedIn has almost 1 billion members.
1 billion.
It feels like saying, I'm going to start a new search engine to compete with Google. It's a non-starter.
If you pitched that to a VC, they wouldn't just laugh you out of the room. They would probably question your sanity.
They'd check to see if you were okay.
It just feels like the ultimate winner-take-all market. The network effects, they seem completely insurmountable. Everyone goes to Indeed because that's where the jobs are.
And all the companies post on Indeed because that's where the people are.
Dream over. So why are we even talking about this?
That is the conventional wisdom.
Right.
But we have a stack of research here today, and it argues the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah, the thesis we're going to explore is that the job board isn't dead at all. It's mutated. And in fact, Indeed's massive scale, that 250 million visitor number, that's actually what's broken it.
Broken it. How? I mean, in tech, scale is the holy grail. If you have 250 million users, you win, period.
For social media, yes, absolutely. But in hiring, scale creates noise, a massive deafening amount of noise.
Okay.
If you're a generalist platform, you are a fire hose. You're just blasting listings out to the entire planet. And look, if I'm hiring a barista, a fire hose is fine.
Sure, you want a lot of applicants.
But what if I'm hiring a nuclear outage technician? Or a cannabis compliance officer? Or, a specialized AI ethicist?
I'm assuming that fire hose just blasts you with thousands of resumes from people who are completely and totally unqualified.
Precisely. You drown in noise. And that noise costs actual money to filter. So this dead business model is actually having a huge resurgence, but not as the general job board. It's coming back as the niche community hub. And the numbers we have today, honestly, they shocked me.
We're going to get to the numbers, I promise. But I want to be crystal clear for you listening right now.
Yeah.
We are not talking about getting venture capital, right? We're not talking about raising $10 million and hiring 50 engineers.
No, God, no. Absolutely not. We are talking about solo founders. We're talking about people working from their living rooms, often with like zero coding skills.
Right.
They're using these off-the-shelf tools, what we're calling the Shopify for job boards model. And they're building these little assets that are generating $10, $20, even $60,000 a month in profit.
Okay, that's the hook. That's what we're going to dig into. We are going to dismantle the myth that this industry is dead, look at these frankly unsexy niches that are printing money, and then walk through the exact framework you can use to validate if your idea is crazy or if it's actually brilliant.
Let's do it.
But first, we have to unpack the economics. Why does niche actually beat general? Because I'm still stuck on this David versus Goliath problem. Even if Indeed is noisy, they have the traffic. How does a tiny little niche board with, 5,000 visitors compete with 250 million?
It comes down to one core concept. It's the difference between reach and intent. You have to grasp this.
Reach versus intent.
Let's play out a scenario. You are the HR director at a nuclear power plant.
Okay, setting the scene. High stress, very regulated industry.
Extremely regulated. You need to hire that nuclear outage technician we just talked about. This is a person who needs a specific security clearance, probably what's called a Q clearance, and very, very specific technical certifications.
So you can't just hire a guy who's good with tools.
No. So you have a budget. You post the job on Indeed for, let's say, $100.
Which seems cheap.
A bargain.
It is cheap.
Yeah.
But because Indeed is just an algorithm designed to maximize clicks and engagement, it shows your job to absolutely everyone who has the word technician anywhere in their resume.
So HVAC technicians.
HVAC technicians, auto mechanics, IP support techs, maybe even a stage technician from a local theater. And within 24 hours, your inbox has 500 applications.
That sounds like a good thing though, right? 500 leads?
It sounds good until you have to actually read them. You have to pay a junior recruiter, $40 or $50 an hour to sit there and physically open 500 PDFs.
Right.
And 497 of them are garbage.
Yeah.
Complete garbage. They don't have the clearance. They don't have the degree. They live in the wrong country.
So that process of just saying no 497 times.
That process costs the company thousands of dollars in wasted time and labor.
So the cheap $100 post on Indeed actually costs $2,000 or $3,000 just to process the junk?
Exactly. That is the cost of noise. Now let's flip the script. You go to, I don't know, nuclearjobs.com or whatever the niche board is.
Okay.
It only has 5,000 visitors a month.
Tiny.
Right, compared to Indeed.
Yeah.
But every single person there is already in the nuclear industry. You post the job, but this time it costs $400.
Okay, so it's 4 times more expensive just for the post itself?
The sticker price is higher, yes.
Yeah.
But you only get 10 applications. And out of those 10, 8 of them are qualified. You interview 3, you hire 1.
And you just saved 40 hours of screening time.
You save thousands of dollars. The effective cost per hire just plummeted.
I see. So you're not actually selling the job post. You're selling the filter. You're selling the fact that you've already kept all the unqualified people out.
That is the headline takeaway right there. Niche boards sell filters, not reach. And because they sell filters, they have incredible pricing power. We see niche boards regularly charging $299, $499. I've even seen $900 for a single listing.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the giants are in a race to the bottom on price.
That is so counterintuitive. Usually the big guys, they have the economy of scale, so they can be cheaper. But here, being smaller actually allows you to be more expensive.
Correct. And this leads to the second big economic advantage, which is what's called the unbundling of LinkedIn.
Unbundling. Okay, break that down for me.
So think about LinkedIn. It is one giant network for absolutely everyone. A baker, a banker, a biologist. They all use the exact same profile structure.
Right, it's a one-size-fits-all data model.
Exactly. But different industries have different verification signals that are super important. If I'm hiring a nurse practitioner, I need to know, are you licensed in New York? Or are you licensed in New Jersey? When does your license expire? LinkedIn doesn't have a structured data field for NY nursing license expiration date.
It's just a generic about me box or, the experience timeline.
Right, it's just unstructured text.
Right.
But a niche job board just for nurses, they can build that filter right into the sign-up flow. Upload your license here, select your state from this dropdown, and suddenly, that little board is functionally superior to LinkedIn for that one specific vertical. It's stickier because it speaks the language of the compliance department.
So you're picking a fight where the giant, LinkedIn, literally can't follow you because they are too big and too generalized to care about the nuances of nursing licenses in New Jersey.
Exactly. You win on the edges. You win on the specific, the weird, the regulatory details that LinkedIn just ignores.
Okay, the logic holds up. I get it. I understand why an employer would pay a premium. But let's get to the part everyone really wants to hear, the money. We teased some numbers, but I want to dig into the reality of this. Who are these people making bank with these little job boards? Is this actually happening, or is it just, a theory?
It is absolutely happening.
Yeah.
And it's happening in places you would not expect. Let's start with a classic example, a site called Japan Dev.
Oh, okay.
This is a board specifically for developer jobs in Japan. Now, notice the layering there.
Right. It's not just developers, and it's not just jobs in Japan. It's the intersection of the two.
Exactly. And it's even more niche than that. It specifically targets English-speaking developers who want to work in Japan but want to avoid that traditional, grueling Japanese corporate culture.
So it's filtering for culture, too, not just skill and location.
Yes. And it's a 2-person bootstrapped team.
2 people.
They hit $62,000 in revenue in a single month.
62 grand
Yeah.
in a month. Just 2 people. That's over $30,000 per person per month.
Yes. And think about the margins. They don't have a massive office. They don't have a sales team of 50 people cold calling. They have a website, they have an audience, and they have a payment processor. The profit margin on that 62K is probably, 95%?
That is just, it's massive. What about RemoteOK? I feel like that's the poster child for this whole movement, but has that ship sailed? Is remote work too broad now?
It is, and you're right, remote is probably too broad now. But RemoteOK is the original case study, run by Peter Levels. It's a solo operation. It generates tens of thousands of dollars a month. And the lesson from RemoteOK isn't to go start a generic remote board today. The lesson is about being first to a major shift. He saw the digital nomad wave before it was mainstream.
He captured that audience before remote work was even a standard category filter on Indeed.
Exactly. But let's look at something more integrated, a community called Exit 5. This is a community for B2B marketers. It started as a Facebook group, then a private community. The job board was just an add-on. a service for their members.
Okay.
But that little add-on generates $111,000 a year.
That's a six-figure salary from a side feature. It's not even their main business. That's wild.
It proves the point that if you already have an audience, if you're listening and you have a newsletter or a podcast or a community, a job board, is one of the absolute best ways to monetize it. You've already gathered the talent. The employers will pay you to access them.
And then you have the super, super niche examples. You mentioned ranch work in the notes here.
Ranch work, literally agriculture and ranch jobs.
Like cowboys.
Cowboys, farm hands, large animal management, that kind of thing.
And what kind of revenue does a job board for cowboys even generate?
About $10,000 a month.
That is incredible. It just goes to show you that niche doesn't mean small revenue. It just means concentrated value. If you own the ranching niche, you are the only game in town.
There's one more I want to highlight because it speaks to the pure efficiency of this model, especially for the side hustler listening right now. It's a board called Real Work from Anywhere.
Oh.
It's a solar operator, making $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue. But here's the kicker, 99% profit margins.
99%? How is that even possible? Don't you have server costs and things?
When you use these modern no-code tools or sauce wrappers, your hosting might be, what, $29 a month? Your domain is $10 a year. You don't have employees, you don't have inventory, you don't have shipping costs.
Right.
So if you bring in $5,000, you're keeping $4,950 of it.
That just completely challenges the whole venture capital mindset. We're so conditioned to think a business isn't successful unless it has a Series A round and a fancy office in San Francisco.
That is the non-venture reality. These businesses aren't burning cash to grow. They are profitable from very, very early on. And the metric that matters isn't millions of visitors. You can have a wildly successful business with 5,000 monthly visitors if they're high value.
Whereas you could have 50,000 visitors on a generic board and fail because none of them actually convert.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold on the economics, I'm sold on the margin. But here's the hard part. I feel like if I search for marketing jobs right now, there are already 10 boards. If I search tech jobs, there are 100. So where are the blue oceans? Where are the totally open waters in 2026?
You have to look at where the economy is shifting, not where it's been. And you have to look for pain. Where is hiring currently a complete and utter disaster? We've identified 4 or 5 areas that are, I think, absolute gold mines right now.
Let's start with the creator economy. We all watch YouTube. We listen to podcasts. But I have never once thought about how those people get hired. I just assume they, ask their friends or something.
It is absolute chaos right now, and that is the opportunity. Being a YouTuber is a real business. Mr. Beast is a massive corporation.
Right.
But even mid-sized channels with, say, 500K subscribers are effectively small media production houses. They need video editors. They need thumbnail designers, community managers, retention specialists.
Wait, a thumbnail designer is a legitimate full-time career now.
It is, and it pays surprisingly well. Think about it. The thumbnail determines the click-through rate.
Which determines the ad revenue.
Exactly. A great thumbnail designer can literally double a channel's revenue overnight.
Yeah.
So yes, they are highly paid and in high demand. But where do you find one?
I have no idea. Indeed.
No thumbnail designers hanging out on your team.
Indeed. Right now, the hiring process is a YouTuber posting a tweet saying, hey, I need a designer, DM me your portfolio.
And then their DMs just completely explode. They fill up with spam, with scammers, with kids who've never used Photoshop, and just fans who want to say hi. It's inefficient. It's prone to ghosting. There's no verification. There is no dominant Indeed for creators.
That's wild. You have a multi-billion-dollar industry that is literally running its HR department through Twitter DMs.
Correct. That is a textbook definition of a market failure. And we're seeing the first signs of this being solved.
Okay.
Mr. Beast literally acquired a hiring platform called Vouch just to solve this for his own network.
Wow.
That is the validation signal. If the biggest player in the entire space has to buy a company just to find staff, the problem is very, very real.
So if you're listening and you understand the YouTube world, building a curated board for YouTube strategists or retention specialists or shorts editors is a massive opportunity.
And the willingness to pay is high because these channels are cash rich, but they are time poor. They will happily pay $300 to find a reliable editor quickly instead of spending 3 weeks digging through Discord servers.
That's a great one. What about the complete opposite end of the spectrum? AI, safety, and ethics. This sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
This is a fascinating and very new emerging field. And to be clear, we're not talking about coding the AI. We're not talking about the guys building the LLMs.
Right.
We're talking about the researchers, the policy experts, and the ethicists who are hired to make sure the AI doesn't, go rogue. Companies like Anthropic, DeepMind, OpenAI, they are fighting tooth and nail for a very, very tiny talent pool.
And when the talent pool is tiny and the stakes are that high?
The willingness to pay goes through the roof. These are 100,000, 200,000, sometimes $500,000 jobs. Employers in this space are willing to pay $399, $599, maybe even more for a single job post if it gets them in front of the right researcher.
And the crazy thing is, this category just didn't exist 5 years ago. It's brand new.
Precisely. You can't say job boards are dead when entire new industries are just popping into existence every few years. If you build the home for AI safety researchers, you have zero competition from the legacy boards because they don't even know how to categorize those jobs yet.
Okay, let's pivot to something really old school, the nuclear renaissance. This seems like the most boring, industrial, unsexy niche possible.
Which makes it perfect. Boring makes money. You have two massive forces colliding here. One, an aging workforce that is retiring, the silver tsunami, and two, a resurgence in nuclear power interest, with new plants being built and old ones needing maintenance.
So they're losing people and they need to hire more people at the exact same time? That sounds like a panic situation for HR department.
It is.
Yeah.
And the competition, it's these severely outdated forums. There's a site called RoadTex. It's the industry standard, but it looks like it was designed in 1998. It works, but the user experience is just rough. It's not mobile friendly at all.
And there's a moat here too, right? You mentioned the security clearances earlier.
That's the absolute key.
Yeah.
You can't just be anyone to work in a nuclear plant. You need that specific clearance. A general board, like Indeed Deeds, can't filter for, do you currently hold a Q clearance?
No.
But a niche board can. That is a massive value add. If you built a modern, slick, mobile-friendly board for nuclear professionals that verified those clearances,
Yeah.
you could steal that entire market.
Okay, here's one that feels like it's straight out of a TV show. Private estates staff.
This is the modern Downton Abbey economy. We're talking about butlers, estate managers, yacht crew, private chefs for ultra high net worth individuals.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say these employers are not price sensitive.
Not in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
If you own a $50 million estate in Aspen, you do not care if the job post costs $500. You care about discretion. You care about quality. You care about background checks.
And where do they hire now?
Word of mouth, mostly.
Right.
Or very high-end agencies that charge like 20% of the first year's salary.
Yeah.
Or existing sites like Estate Jobs, which are, again, often very dated. A modern platform that focuses on privacy and high-end verification could completely dominate.
Okay, one more before we move on. Async first remote. How is this different from just remote jobs?
This is a really crucial cultural distinction. Remote just means you're not in the office. But a lot of remote jobs still require you to be on Zoom from 9 to 5. You're tethered to your desk, you're just at home.
Right, it's the digital leash. You're still clocking in, just in your pajamas.
Exactly. Async means you work whenever you want. It's about output, not hours logged. It appeals to a very specific type of worker, maybe the digital nomad in Bali, or the parent who needs to pick up their kids at 3 p.m. and wants to work later.
And the general remoters just ignore this.
They completely ignore this distinction. But for the worker who wants true schedule freedom, async is the filter they are dying for. If you build a board that only allows companies to post if they offer truly asynchronous schedules, you win that tribe immediately.
So you have these amazing ideas, but we need to look at the broader landscape now to understand where the red oceans are, the places where the sharks are already feeding. Because I don't want someone listening to run out and start a generic tech job board and just get crushed.
Right, let's look at tech and AI specializations generally. The pros are obvious. High pricing power. If you're placing a DevOps engineer or a data engineer, the salaries are, what, $200?
Easy.
So employers will happily pay $500 to post that job. But it is crowded. Everyone wants a piece of the tech pie. To win here, you have to go deeper. You can't just do tech jobs. You have to do LLMOps, large language model operations. That is the new frontier of DevOps. You have to slice the onion thinner and thinner.
So the strategy in tech is niche within a niche.
Exactly. Then you've got your industry verticals. Let's take construction and the trades.
Massive labor shortage there, I keep hearing.
650,000 open positions in the U.S. alone. It's huge. Now, the pricing per post is lower, maybe $99, because the salaries aren't as high as tech. But the volume, is enormous. This is a volume play. If you can become the go-to place for electricians or welders, the sheer volume makes up for that lower price point.
And then there are demographic niches. This is interesting because it's not about what you do, but who you are.
Yeah, this is a powerful angle. Return to work is a big one. Something like 56% of women who leave the workforce want to eventually return. There are these programs called returnships. A board dedicated to moms or caregivers re-entering the workforce has a built-in emotional connection and a powerful advocacy network.
And I imagine it's the same with veterans.
Veterans are a fascinating niche because of the corporate mandates. Many Fortune 500 companies have specific quotas or initiatives to hire vets. They have budgets specifically allocated for veteran hiring.
That's a key insight. If there's a corporate budget line item for it already, it's a much easier sell.
Exactly. You're not convincing them to spend money. You're just helping them spend money they are required to spend.
And what about seniors, the 50-plus crowd?
This is all about combating ageism. If a company pays to post on a 50-plus professionals board, they are explicitly signaling to the market, we do not discriminate based on age, we value experience. That signal alone is worth the posting fee to the right candidate. It creates psychological safety.
Okay, so we have the ideas, we understand the landscape, but I know what you're thinking if you're listening. You're thinking, how do I know if my specific idea is going to work? You can't just launch it and pray. I don't want to spend 6 months building underwater basket weaving jobs only to find out nobody cares.
No, and please don't. That is how you lose 6 months of your life. We have a validation framework from the source material that's really solid. It's a 4-step sanity check before you write a line of code or spend a single dollar.
Okay, step 1, quantify demand. This is about keywords, right? SEO stuff.
It is. You need to use a tool or refs, SRush, even the free Google Keyword Planner. You're looking for search volume for terms like your niche jobs, so cannabis jobs, nuclear jobs, part-time CFO jobs.
Is there a magic number? What are we looking for here?
The general rule of thumb is you want a cluster of keywords that adds up to about 10,000 monthly searches. That implies there's enough organic interest that you can eventually get traffic without having to pay for ads.
What if it's huge, like 500,000 searches?
Then it's probably too broad and way too competitive. And what if it's 100 searches? Too small. You're looking for that Goldilocks zone. 10,000 to 50,000 searches a month is the sweet spot for a solo founder.
Okay, step 2, assess competition. And this was counterintuitive to me. You said we actually want to find competitors.
Yes. If you find 0 competitors, that is a huge danger sign. It might mean the market doesn't exist. It might mean nobody is willing to pay for this.
So what are we looking for then?
You're looking for the mediocre sweet spot. You want to find 1 to 3 competitors, but, and this is the critical part, you want them to look like they haven't been updated since 2015.
You want to see Times New Roman font and a copyright date that's 5 years old?
Exactly. You want to see ugly websites, stale listings that are 45 days old, and just a terrible mobile experience.
Yeah.
When you see that, you say, aha, there is demand because this site exists, but the execution is awful. I can beat this.
And if you see 5 modern, venture-backed, super slick competitors...
Walk away. That room is too crowded. Go find an easier fight.
Okay. Step 3, employer willingness to pay.
This is the most critical step of all. Just because people are searching for jobs doesn't automatically mean companies will pay to post them. You have to ask the question, are employers already spending money to solve this problem?
And how do you find that out?
You do the research. Go to the company websites in that niche. Are they posting on the Diddy Green? Indeed, if so, great, they're spending money. Are they using expensive recruiting agencies? If a company is paying a headhunter 20 grand to find 1 person, they will definitely pay you $300 to post an ad.
But if they only ever hire through word of mouth or free Craigslist ads?
Then monetization is going to be a long, painful grind. You want industries that are culturally used to spending money on recruitment.
And finally, step 4, the MVP, the minimum viable product.
Do not build the full site yet. Please, do not hire a developer, just create a landing page. Your only goal is to get 100 email subscribers in 30 days. That is it. Coming soon, the best job board for nuclear technicians. Sign up for early access and job alerts.
And if you can't find 100 people to give you their email for free, you definitely can't find companies to give you $300.
Exactly. It is the cheapest failure you will ever have.
Okay, so let's assume we validate. We have the emails. We've found our niche. Now let's talk about the build. You mentioned something earlier about automated aggregation and job wrapping. I'm not a tech guy. Wrapping sounds like something I do to a burrito. What does that mean here?
This is the secret weapon of modern job boards. Back in the day, to start a board, you had to manually copy and paste jobs from company websites over to your board. It was a nightmare.
Right, you'd spend your entire Sunday just copying job descriptions.
Job wrapping or scraping is technology. It's offered by platforms like Kavuno that basically acts like a robot spider. You tell it, go to the careers pages of Anthropic, OpenAI, and DeepMind. Find any job that says safety or ethics, copy it, put it on my board. And if they take the job down, you take it down too.
So the whole thing just runs on autopilot.
Yes, and this solves the empty room problem. If you launch a job board with 0 jobs on it, nobody will stay. You use wrapping to backfill the board with real, high-quality jobs from day one. So the very first visitor sees a bustling marketplace, not a ghost town.
That leads us perfectly into the execution phase. Let's talk about the timeline and the tech stack, because I think people have this illusion that they'll launch on a Tuesday and be rich by Friday.
We have to be the voice of reason here. This is an 18 to 24-month game. If you need money next week, go drive for Uber. Do not start a job board.
So walk us through that first year. What does that valley of death look like?
Months 1 through 6. You should expect 0 revenue.
0. That hurts to hear.
You are building traffic. You are building inventory. You are building trust. We have the example of Phil McParlin, who runs 4dayweek.io. It's great niche jobs with a 4-day work week. He didn't make a single sale until month 6.
But he stuck with it.
He did. And now it's a massive business. The beauty of this model is the low risk. Your operating costs are maybe $29 to $50 a month for the software. So the risk isn't losing your life savings. The risk is just your time.
And then year 2.
That is where the compound effect kicks in. SEO starts to work. Google starts sending you free traffic. Employers who posted once and got a good hire come back for a second post. That's where you see that jump to $5,000 or even $20,000 a month. But you have to survive the silence of those first 6 months.
So what about the tech? You mentioned Kavuno. Do I need to hire a developer for this?
Absolutely not. And you shouldn't. The source material is very, very clear on this point. You are building a media business, not a tech company.
That is a great line.
If you spend $10,000 or, God forbid, $70,000 building a custom site, you have completely wasted your budget. You should use a SaaS platform. Kavuno, Smart Job Board, Niceboard. They cost anywhere from $29 to maybe $450 a month.
And they handle everything.
They handle the payments, the hosting, the job wrapping, the design. Your job is marketing. Your job is finding the audience and building the community.
It's like podcasting. You don't build your own hosting server from scratch. You use a host so you can focus on making the content.
Precisely. WordPress is another option. It's cheaper, but then it requires maintenance. You'll be updating plugins and fighting off hackers instead of selling job posts.
Yeah.
For most non-technical people, the SaaS route is the only logical choice.
Okay, so we have the niche, we have the validation, we have the tech, but there's one last hurdle. It's that cold start problem again. You've got the aggregated jobs, but how do you get that first paying customer? Because the robot spider filled your board, but those companies didn't actually pay you.
This requires hustle. There is no algorithm for your first 10 sales. You have to do direct outreach.
What does that look like? Give me the script.
Okay, you find a company that's hiring for a nuclear outage technician on their own website. You find the HR manager on LinkedIn. You email them.
A cold email.
A cold email. You say, hi, name, I run nuclearjobs.com, the only dedicated board for nuclear professionals. I've already indexed your job to help you find candidates. I would love to feature it as a premium post at the very top of our homepage for free for the next 30 days. No catch. I just want to show you the quality of candidates we have.
So you just give it away at first?
You give it away to get the logo on your site. You need to look legitimate. Then, once you deliver 5 or 10 great applicants, you go back to them and say, hey, that worked out pretty well. I see you're hiring for another role. The standard price is $299, but I can give you a discount.
It's the classic drug dealer model. The first one's free.
In a way, yes. You have to prove the value before you can extract the value. You need to build liquidity in the marketplace. Once you have 10 companies paying, others see that and say, oh, everyone is posting here. I need to be posting here too. And that is when the flywheel finally starts spinning.
Okay, so let's bring all this together. What is the big final takeaway for someone listening who is sitting on the fence about this?
The takeaway is that the job board is evolving. It is no longer just a classified section. The best opportunities for 2026 and beyond, they look like communities. They look like newsletters. They look like resource hubs. The hiring part is just the monetization engine that keeps the lights on for the community.
It's about owning the intersection of a specific group of people and their livelihood.
Yes, and if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what niche to pick, here's my challenge to you. Look at your own browser history.
Yeah.
Look at the subreddits you lurk in. Look at the newsletters you actually open every single week.
What are you already obsessed with?
Exactly. If you are obsessed with it, and there is real money flowing in that industry, but there is no dedicated single place to find a job, that is your green light.
I love that. The best job board ideas look nothing like traditional job boards.
They look like home for a specific tribe.
Well, there you have it. The blueprint is there. The tech is accessible. The only variable left is you.
Indeed.
Pun intended.
Always.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one. Keep exploring.